Welcome back to another episode of The Fabric of America. My name is Matthew Bandiver, owner of Bards.
And I am Melissa Otto, owner of Demelis Atelier.
And we are here joined by the legendary, the one, the only...
Dan Hoagland. I own the Liquorist mobile drinkery. We are a mobile bar.
That's probably the coolest sentence I've ever heard in my life.
You don't even drink.
Yeah, exactly.
It's amazing.
I support from afar. I'm like, it looks fun. As someone who's sober, I'm like, oh, what's going on in there? So, Dan, thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Did you work last night?
I did not. Our season officially ended last Saturday.
Oh.
So we have time off now. We have about 6 weeks before holiday parties start.
Oh my God. I was like, literally, when you said you were in for 9 a.m., I was like, there's no way. There's no way. You worked a wedding last night.
Right.
We're just getting a corpse. But before we dive into that, we got to talk about these outfits. So, Melissa, do you want to kick us off?
Sure.
That belt.
Oh, well, thank you. Wow. Thank you. All right. So for the listener who's just listening, not watching, I'm wearing a pair of black Levi's kind of skinny mom jeans. I've got on a very 80s style belt because it is from the 80s.
Ooh,
this was my mom's.
That's
so I have managed to keep it for all these years. It looks like an upholstery extravaganza.
When you're like running your household, you like wear like the WWE.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? Over your shoulder.
100% the championship belt of momming. So that's that. And I said what I said. And then I have on a pink knit sweater with a little pocket on it, which is actually really cool. And I love this because this was given to me by one of my employees. So oftentimes if we're like clearing out our closets, we'll bring in our stuff and just be like, hey, does anybody want this before we take it to the consignment shop or Goodwill or whatever? Check the tag. Who makes it?
Who makes this? This is Liz.
Is it Liz Claiborne? Liz Sport. So that's Liz Claiborne Sport. This is definitely like 80s, 90s or something, but it's 100% cotton. It's so comfortable. My Levi's I got probably about 2 years ago. I did buy them at the outlet. I haven't bought a pair of Levi's denim in the long
As you shouldn't, because they're the worst.
Well, I didn't know. Well, I mean, classically they're not.
Classically they're not. But now they are.
I found myself at the outlet and I was like, you know what? And I went in and I probably tried on like a dozen pairs of jeans, and at least one stuck. But I was like, okay, like here we are. And I actually just got these new Adidas. They're Sambas. I thought they were going to come in black. The picture definitely showed them as black, but they're like a really deep, aggressive charcoal kind of sheen silver type thing.
Yeah.
They've got an ivory stripe and then they have a pink ribbon lace and kind of a pinkish gum sole.
Did you add that?
No, they came this way. They came this way. See, there's kind of like a rose gold on the tongue there. So
pretty cool.
They're so comfortable. These are my new studio shoes, so they don't leave the building. They stay. That's why they're super duper clean. So I just change into these when I get here usually.
I like it.
So, thank you.
Done. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So I wanted to match Dan's energy. Dan is a child of the 90s grunge era. So I was like,
hell yeah.
I was like, I'm coming in jeans on a flannel and a t-shirt and brown boots. And what did Dan come in?
Exactly the same. Exactly.
So I like this.
I like his better, but
yes, exactly. That is a really nice shirt. I'm kind of jealous. We should trade, just like Melissa's employees.
Yeah, this shirt is probably 10 years old.
That's perfect.
So
it's the right answer.
I got it at J. Crew a long time ago. The reason I bought it is because one, I do like the pattern of it, but it had the arm patches, which I thought were pretty cool.
It's the first thing I noticed.
Right.
Because it's like kind of outerwear, but not.
Yes.
That's like the best part.
So the jeans, they're called unbranded. I don't know anything about them. But
they're not branded. You don't. You're not supposed.
Right.
It's a mystery.
Make your own brand. The label is called unbranded. They don't put any brands on it. So, but the boots, I don't know. Couldn't tell you anything about them. So
amazing.
Yeah,
that's perfect.
They're sharp. That's what I can tell you about them.
To my flannel 90s grunge.
Yes. Even in the dead of summer.
Yeah, it doesn't even change. Never changes.
Never. That's all I know about
my whole
you.
closet is just filled with flannels.
Yeah, it's like a cartoon.
I was just going to say, is it like the Doug?
Where they wear the same.
Yes. Over and over and over.
Like, man.
That's okay.
Yeah.
There's not much going on in here.
You just open it and start sweating.
Yes.
It's super warm in there.
It smells like wool and mothballs.
Yeah, it's just all warm. Awesome. So my outfit, I did wear this because I knew that this is exactly what you were going to wear. So like, did I call it or what? So this is one of my Bard's flannels. I did a snap front with the 2 pockets. I love doing custom flannels because when people think of custom clothing, they always think dress. I'm like, you're in casual clothing nowadays, the majority of your life. That's usually where you should put your money because that's where most people are seeing you.
Right.
So I love investing in custom casual clothing or even just better casual clothing. These jeans, Raleigh denim. The denim actually comes from Nashville. The shirt is from the company's called 45, and I believe Huckberry just bought them. So if you go on Huckberry's website, you can buy these t-shirts. They're like 3 for $99, I think. They're all made in Colorado. Love that. And then Melissa's favorite boots, Meslon, and then my Bob's Burgers socks, obviously. Yep. There was a lot of good Bob's Burgers Halloween.
There were quite a few good Halloween memes and such.
I was very happy. But Dan, thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome. Yeah, this is fun.
I'm so happy.
Oh, it's about to get way more fun.
Oh, good.
Yes, definitely, yeah. Because it's been kind of a rough start.
Right. We're going to share a seat.
Yeah, exactly. All 3 of us facing. So, Dan, what is a mobile bar?
So we are a horse trailer bar. Mm-hmm. So we bought a horse trailer and then we outfitted it into a bar. And so we're able to take it anywhere there's a party that would be needed. So, and it's pretty easy. We hook it up to our truck. We go full service. We got everything we need in it, and we just have a lot of fun with it.
When you are deciding on starting a mobile bar, because now, like when you first started, I think you were the first mobile bar I'd ever heard of.
How long ago did you start?
8 years ago.
Okay.
How wild is that?
That's crazy.
That was like
that's really
in
cool.
the 90s.
I mean, yes. Yes.
So, I mean, literally, like, probably the first, I remember you explaining it to me, and I was like, what do you mean?
Right.
How is this legal? You're just driving around a wagon of alcohol?
Right.
Well, before even that, where did you get the idea from? Like, what started this whole thing?
It wasn't our idea. Me and my wife had originally come with the idea to do a food truck. And so we had gone through like the whole process of creating a menu, deciding what we wanted to do. She's Lebanese, so we came up with a full Lebanese menu, and it was great. We tested everything. We had contacted a friend of ours who had a food truck, and we had asked him, would it be possible if we use your food truck for a day? And he's like, yeah, that'd be great. We could test it out, see how it works out. So we went through that whole process, and we hung up. He called me right back within 3 minutes and said, why are you doing a food truck? It's like, you've been a bartender your whole life. Why don't you just do a mobile bar? So we had the same exact questions. Like, is that even legal? Could that possibly be legal? Because I want to say maybe a year or two prior, I had a conversation with another bartender that worked with us, Casey. And they had mentioned, like, wouldn't it be just cool to have like a mobile bar? I'm like, no, that's not legal.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Right. There's no way that would be legal. And so we went through, we talked to him. So then we contacted the state. And the state's like, yeah, I don't think that's legal. And,
you really know.
So there was a lot of conflicting answers that we had gotten, and we'd found out there were a few others in the state. So I believe there was only 3 others in the state who had been doing it for a while. And so we told them about them. They looked into it and like, oh yeah, it is legal. And then so we went through the whole process of. So it was like kind of like learning for a lot of the liquor control as well as us.
Yeah.
So so we went through the whole process, and then they said, yeah, you're good to go.
So what was some of that process like? Like, what, you had to get a liquor license, I assume?
So the liquor license is acquired through a catering permit.
Okay.
So you get the catering permit. They ask you if you would like a liquor permit with it. And of course, you have to do it. So like the process to get it all finished is like, they want to know everything about you starting out. And then you have to submit a food menu, and then they go from there. So like once they decide like, okay, the menu's good enough to serve to the public, you're good to go. So like there's all their stipulations of where you got to keep all your alcohol, how are you preparing everything.
Gotcha.
So, but once you get through all that, and then you can pretty much.
Is that in terms of like cleanliness and standards like that?
Right. Okay. So they essentially don't want you making food in your kitchen,
Fair.
and then bringing it to an event. Right. So like, I would probably say like the majority of people are probably pretty clean, but there's going to be situations where that's not going to happen.
Pushing the boundaries there.
If I had a mobile bar.
Right.
Yeah, no one's going to your
I'd be like, here's this
food,
McDonald's.
mobile bar, anything.
I picked it up on the way.
Right.
Went through the drive-thru in my mobile
Secondhand
bar.
McDonald's. Get out of there.
You'd eat all those fries.
Yeah. Cut it in quarters.
Yeah, literally.
So
now that like 8 years have gone by, I've seen a bunch of mobile bars. It seems like horse trailer, old trailer,
Volkswagen bus.
Yep.
Yeah, those seem to be like the majority. Is it kind of like you have to pick one of those, or what made you decide on a horse trailer?
So the horse trailer was the idea we had gotten. So we'd done a lot of research online of like what would be pretty cool to do. And down south, there's a ton of mobile bars, and out west, there's a ton of mobile bars, and the majority of them were horse trailers. Mm-hmm. And there were none in the state of Connecticut. So I think, this would be pretty cool. And like we will be the only ones here with a horse trailer bar. And we were the first. Yeah. So like, I guess we started that trend here. Mm-hmm. And then I'm not saying that people saw us and like, that's what we're going to do. I mean, they probably did the same exact. Yeah,
if you don't
own
say
it,
I will.
You can own it. It's okay.
I'm sure they did their research too, went online. So like, what would be
they
cool?
went online to liquorist.com.
That's right.
This looks cool.
Right.
This guy's got it down.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Follow the formula.
Yeah. So we did it that way, and it worked out pretty well, and still to this day, like when we bring our original trailer, because we have two, people still love it. Like, this thing is so cool. It's rustic. It's not like a lot of the newer trailers, which are more polished.
Yep.
If you see them side by side, there's stuff to like about both of them. But the difference with like the older one is like you look at it like this looks very rustic. And that's not something you see a lot of with the newer trailers, because the newer trailers are just very pretty. Like I'm not saying ours isn't pretty.
Yeah.
But it is.
It's got character in a different way.
Right.
Exactly.
It's the newer trailers are like that light and airy.
Right.
The inside's bright, the outside's bright.
Right.
Yep.
Everything's all very bright. Whereas, the original horse trailer you have it's like so novelty.
Right.
I'm sure you hear that word all the time.
Yes.
But it is such like this is the coolest thing that I'm seeing.
Do you guys have more than one now?
So we have two. So we have the two horse trailer bars, and we have portable bars too that I've built. So like, which are intended for the smaller parties. Yep. But hasn't always worked out that way. So because we do a lot of weddings, and got to the point where like, we can book. I got the resources to do it. Let's just do it. So I take the portable bars to even bigger weddings. So
nice.
And so it's worked out.
Two weddings, two bars at a wedding.
So the two portable bars, I can bring those to separate weddings.
Oh, okay.
So we have the capability. Capability of doing 4 weddings a day.
That's wild.
And we were doing 4 a day, and
wow.
It's a test of your spirit.
So when you were starting out, like, so when I think of food truck, let's start with the food truck part. Like, I think of like restaurants and how a lot of businesses fail.
Right.
Bars fail. Like, we watch Bar Rescue all the time in my house. Yep. We love that show. Was there any part of you that was like shitting your pants a little bit? Like, this is big time risk? Or did you just kind of feel like, well, we're going to do it and we'll see how this goes?
Right. So when we started it, it was more of like a fun thing to do, side job, and we felt like, I don't know if we ever really thought like it would take over like our primary working, and which it has. And in the beginning it was like fun, and we were doing it, we were booking events, we weren't booking a lot because
and you were bartending still at the time?
Still bartending, still doing that. And after a couple years, it got to the point where like, all right, we're starting to get pretty busy. It's hard to maintain working
regular hours,
50 hours a week, and then doing this 40 hours a week. So like we started to transition, we started cutting back working in restaurants and doing this more. And then those thoughts of doubt get into your mind, like, what if this doesn't keep up?
Yeah,
like,
now I've put all my eggs in the basket.
Right.
Because also during this time, you got married, you had kids, like
there was a lot going on.
Life got very real.
All at the same time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know. It was literally 1 week I saw you. The next week you had a wife and 4 kids.
Right.
It was insane.
That was it.
It was just a wild explosion. Dog. Yeah. Absolute explosion.
We added the dog in just to make things calm.
Really,
yeah. Oh my God. I went to their house, I don't know, a couple months ago, and it was bedlam. just pure bedlam with like kids.
Okay.
Because it's like,
I relate to that so deeply. I have 2 kids. No, we don't have a pet anymore, but it's chaos.
Right.
It's
how old are your kids?
So Scarlett is 6.5.
That's
Josephine's 3.5. Ronan is 1.5.
Oh my God.
So
that's
and
insane.
then
we should just put our 2 broods together and see what happens.
Oh my God. Well, they'd love it.
Yeah,
they would have so much fun. But it's like the
you bring over
level.
the bar and we'll be all set.
Right.
So then that's fine. That'll work for me.
No, that's pretty wild. And so you and Rebecca have been working together for how long now?
11 years.
Did you guys meet in like the bar and restaurant scene?
Yep. That's how we met. I like to joke around about it because I call it Stockholm Syndrome.
True love.
I annoyed her enough where she thought, like, finally. She, yeah, that's fine. Let's just go out.
Right.
But it worked out.
Alone.
Yeah, it worked out pretty well.
You showed her.
You anyway.
There are success stories to this.
So to all those people out there, just keep wearing her down.
Right.
The moral of the story.
So
yeah, that's awesome.
But when you guys were like first getting together and first getting into the bar truck or the trailer, were you like, was one of you working in it more than the other and the other was kind of doing the like 9 to 5 or whatever, the more regular job hours? Or you kind of both at the same time? We both
at the same time doing it.
Yeah.
And it was a lot in the beginning too, because we had to take time off from work, which is sometimes not that easy because her and I were the 2 main bartenders where we were working.
Yeah, you guys weren't just working at a bar.
Right.
Yeah. You were
like
the main act.
People. Yeah.
You were the reason people came to that place.
Right.
Wow.
Speaking from experience, like like in West Hartford Center, there's 95 bars in an 87 square foot, area.
Right.
Yep.
And your bar was just like, Dan and Rebecca are there. And if you weren't there, I would leave.
Right.
And then come back. I was like, what am I going to do? Not drink?
Text, where are you?
Yeah, exactly. Like, stop that. Get over here.
I think it's so interesting too, just like, and I think we're going to find this too, the more and more people that we talk to. And this was the same for me when I was starting in my business, that straddling the line of I'm working a job because I need consistent money, but I'm also like trying to get my dream off the ground and seeing at what point you flip the switch and like actually quit and jump both feet, onto the other side. It's intimidating.
That's what it was. So when we started, like our first major event was the No Good Market in Hartford, and which was like new.
Remember that?
Yeah. So they contacted us like, hey, would you be interested in being a mobile bar or being the bar for the market? I'm like, yeah, of course. We do it every, I don't know what it was, like every 6 weeks, every sixth Thursday or whatever it was. And I'm like, yeah, of course. So the first event that we did, like everything was great. The weather was perfect. It wasn't hot, wasn't cold, no humidity. There had to have been like 5,000 people there. And we're thinking like, you never know. You're vending. You don't know if you're going to make money. People a lot of times just come with their kids. So if they're coming with their kids, they're most likely not going to get a drink. And we got
are they?
Oh yeah, true. You never know. Like, but so like we got crushed. And like so we get home, and all of a sudden we had like 700 new followers in the span of like 3 hours.
Yeah.
Now that was like, if you're into like the Instagram world, we don't have a lot of I think we have like 2,600 followers. And to know like one day, it was like a quarter.
All of that.
That's where
legendary.
You peaked.
And that's where like we realized like this could probably take off, because if you're getting this many followers in such a short period of time, this many people do not know that this exists.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and so like, I think we realized right then, like this could be actually do something. We never really thought it would ever fail, but we never...
You didn't know how successful it would be and where it would go.
Because you're like, like the need is there.
Yeah.
But you never know.
How did you start getting those first jobs? Were people just like kind of hearing through the grapevine? Were you doing a lot of social media stuff? Like,
did you have a diehard supporter?
Right.
Who really
who only would talk about you ever?
Matt was huge. and all of
Wow.
that. I would say
Okay.
like if there was the number one fan, it would be Matt.
Oh,
the biggest supporter would
Okay.
definitely be Matt, no matter what we did. I mean, one of our first parties was his family party.
Yeah, my brother's
Yeah.
engagement.
No kidding.
Party.
Okay.
Yeah, it was awesome. It
Right.
was that was such, to this day. And that was what, 2018
Yeah.
maybe? Yeah. To this day,
That's
people
like
were
a
like,
story in your
that was
family.
the best
Yeah.
part, was having Dan and Rebecca there. There's like pictures of my brother and his fiance in the bar. There's pictures
Yeah.
of like my parents at the bar. Like it was just so awesome. Like after that, I had a couple more birthdays at the restaurant they were working at. My parents came and we're all excited to see them. My parents are not partiers at all.
Yeah.
They are like the opposite of me in every way. So it was so awesome that they were like excited about, Dan and Rebecca. And then just, every time that there was like an event in West Hartford, because at that time I was on like 5 or 6 boards in West Hartford. And every time they're like, we're having an event, I was like, we should have the Liquorist here. And like, we should have them here. And like, sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't, but it was just like,
Right.
throwing the name out there nonstop and just like hyping them up on Instagram. But I was so like literally, I don't know why I was like, I need them to succeed more. Like I need it for me. Like I am so behind this in every way possible. And I'm literally still to this day number one fan.
Yeah, he has talked about you a lot.
Right.
I will say that. I can vouch for that.
Yeah, and then there's like family, friends who have seen them at like an event they've hired annually, and it's just like so happy to see that.
At what point did you cross into weddings?
So it was almost immediately.
Really?
So the first wedding that we booked was with the owners of Urban Lodge Brewing, and which is like funny when I look back on all our emails and like how everything was like and our pricing and everything. I'm like, wow, man, like this is how we did it.
What the hell were we thinking?
Like, this is crazy. Like what a great deal. And but it was great because I think that they like that wedding alone, because they have such a huge footprint with like their scene and their breweries, that a lot of the people that went to that wedding, like I'm pretty sure were able to recommend us to other events and weddings. And because we get a lot of people that they're not repeat customers, but we do events and be like, I was at a wedding before you were there.
It's the network of the whole
Right.
thing, that like tangled web we weave.
Yes. And it's kind of like,
Or thread that we weave through things.
the
Fabric
thread
of
that-
America.
Stuck the landing. Nailed
Trying
it.
not to use weave again.
Yeah, no, you nailed it. That's our new tagline. The tangled thread that comes from one area across another and,
Fucking hate you.
Right.
and binds America. Freedom.
Right.
Don't you?
Yeah, no, that was perfect.
Thank
I loved it. I run into this with my business. Well, actually, I have 2 questions. First, I'll segue off yours. I don't consider myself a wedding vendor.
Mhm.
You do a lot of corporate events. What do you consider yourself a wedding vendor? Do you not try to label yourself? Is there a market you go after?
So I would say probably 90% weddings.
Yeah.
We love weddings. I mean, what's there not to like about a wedding?
Yeah.
And a lot of people come up to us at weddings like, do you like what you do? I'm like, how could I not?
Right.
You're at a wedding. Everybody's happy. Everybody's in a good mood. Like, how could you ever be upset with that?
And if not, you're just watching from afar. You have nothing to do with it.
Right.
Yeah. You guys are like the wedding crashers.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're like, what's better,
Drama
Christmas or wedding season? Wedding season.
Right.
All psyched.
I would
Yeah.
imagine it's nice because you get consistency too from that, because there's always weddings.
Yeah.
And at least for us in New England, it's peaking through, from summer through fall. So it's nice to have like just a steady stream of business where there's
Right.
not always corporate parties and things like that. That's more holidays. And that actually can transition really great for you guys from one season to the next.
Which is, it is nice. The wedding season comes fast and it's very furious.
Yeah.
And we've seen through the past few years that weddings are starting earlier. And I think a lot of
And
that
going
too is,
later too, are you
Yes,
finding? Yep.
Yes. And July and August are the 2 months where a lot of weddings don't happen.
Mhm.
It's hot.
Yeah.
And people just are, I think
Yeah.
probably pretty conscious of their guests, thinking like, like depending on like what kind of wear they want to have for their weddings.
Yeah.
And so they're not too hot or whatever, but weddings are starting early. So we're getting a lot of late April weddings, a lot of May weddings. June, September, and October, they're probably the most popular months for weddings. Yeah. There's no humidity, and it's just like perfect weather.
Yeah.
So
October has officially been ranked as #1 month for weddings because it's just the best. The only problem is, and I mean, you're adapting 4 weekends.
Right.
It's like spring, summer weddings, you've got 9 weekends.
Right.
If you want a fall wedding, you have a very limited amount of time, which is why you need to have 4 ways to serve weddings.
Right. It's crazy. Like September and October, we know we're going to do between 4 to 6 weddings every weekend.
That's insane.
And so prepare for that is a lot, like for me at least, because I'm not a planner. I do everything like in the moment.
Yeah.
And so when things are happening, I'm like, all right, I need to like stop and think, like, how do I plan for something? Like that's hard for me.
Yeah.
Rebecca yells at me.
I was going to say, is she the yin to the yang there?
Yeah, okay. Like, start writing things down.
Yeah.
Like, I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's perfect. So that's actually a good segue to my next question. Which of you is like the more business savvy, entrepreneurial, like, from what I've always known of you two, it's pure passion driving the car.
Right.
You're just psyched to be alive.
Right.
And psyched that you get to do this. And just, holy crap, we're doing it. You two are just such likable people that it's worked out. People want you back. You've built a reputation. But is there a business plan? Is there a plan? Like, how do you handle the business portion of it all? Who is one mind more involved in that than the other?
Right. So when we're doing this whole thing, I'm like the operations, and she's like the brain behind it. So like I do all the things, and she looks at it, she's like, change this, do this, do this. Yeah. I'm like, all right, we'll make that happen. And so I would say it's probably 50-50, like how we do it, but it's completely different with like how we do it.
Yeah.
So like getting all the bookings doing all the emailing and talking with people and all that. I do all that.
Mm-hmm.
And then she reviews it all.
Yeah.
So she's like the comptroller,
I like
just
that.
to make sure like everything is like, you're doing it right. Change this for next time, make sure your email's worded this way, so.
Did you guys have any growing pains with that, like from beginning to now? Like anything that you guys maybe majorly screwed up or just really learned from?
Right, yes. So as we started getting busier, it was juggling the amount of emails that we had to deal with every single day. And like I said before, like I don't write anything down. I pretty much keep everything in my head. And that has always worked for me. Till recently, where I'm starting to like, all right, this people said this. Nah, I was pretty sure it was a different wedding that said that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And she's like, you need to write it down. You can't be messing things up.
Yeah.
And so as we've gotten busier, yes. So it's trying to take care of like where everything needs to go. Like I haven't been perfect. I've forgotten things for weddings, and I've done my best to like rush to make it happen to get it back to where it should be. But as an event planner had just told me, she's like, you know what? You messed up. That's fine. Nobody knows.
Yeah.
You're the only one that knows. You can correct it yourself and it's fine. But for me, it's like I get stressed out by it.
Totally.
So, and she's like, there's no need to get all stressed out. She's like, you're the only one that knows. So,
yeah. Yeah. That's like, I have that conversation sometimes with my wedding couples where they had an idea in their head and maybe the garment comes in and it's just not how they want. And I'm like, the day of, nobody's going to know what the alternative was.
Right.
You show up in this outfit, that's what everyone's going to think was the plan.
Right.
And it is, I think we beat ourselves up. I do the same thing. Everything's in my head.
Right.
I'm a very pen and paper. If it's lucky, it makes it to pen and paper. There's no Excel sheet in my life. There's none of that. And I same thing. I've very much been, flying by the seat of my pants, just like remembering everything. But as I've gotten busier, it's like, wait, did that person want this lining or that lining? And I'm like, I'm doing so many more weddings now. I'm like, oh, it is difficult to remember.
Right.
Because everybody uses the same words.
Maybe Rebecca and I are onto things.
Yeah, no.
You definitely are.
Just listen to the
that
gal.
can't be true.
100%. Rebecca.
Also, because I was like you guys, and now same thing. I just have to. I have to write it down. There's absolutely no way around it. Or I have to save the emails as new until I go through them, and actually do them in real time. I can't.
I've just started starring my emails. That's
I've been saying that for a long time. Like, keep it new. Keep the email new, just so you know it's there. Not once.
Yeah, I know. I actually just the other night, there was an event. And a bunch of people were there, and one of my friends came, and after the event, she was texting me, and she was like, so a lot of people said you're a pretty bad texter. And I was like, really? That's interesting. I thought I was a pretty good texter. But I have now gotten so, I get distracted because I'm constantly doing stuff. So somebody will text me, and I'll read it while I'm doing something, and then I'll forget to respond. It's not like I'm just sitting there like ignoring it.
Right.
And people love to say how, oh, Matt, you're always on the go. You're always doing this. But then that's a part of it. If I'm always on the go, then I can't always be responding to your text, all this. So it is frustrating when your work, I don't know, what you're doing to put in the work doesn't always come through on the other side. That part is
I think a lot of people think like they're the only person in your world at that moment.
Yeah.
Correct.
And
they're
the most important, most special.
Right. That's right.
Or like you're posting on Instagram, you're on Facebook.
Yeah.
Well, they're on their phone. No. Different.
Half the time that shit is scheduled.
Yeah.
Okay?
Exactly.
We're not there.
I can also just like upload, then put it down.
Yeah.
Like, it's
things.
That's frustrating. I wanted to know more about your working with your wife. That I can't even wrap my brain around being in a relationship, let alone working with your wife. From being coworkers to being engaged to running this to having this empire expand, like to having kids and dogs and me,
right.
like all the things. Like, what has that been like?
Oh, it's been great.
That's not true.
No, it is. It really is. I mean, because we get along so well.
Yeah.
Like our heads aren't like constantly like having different ideas on how things should be run. We think of things the same exact way, and like we have slight differences on things, but they're not things that like ever really impact like how things should really be. They're all beneficial.
Right. So the plan, the goal is always the same.
Right.
How you get there might differ.
Yeah. Not too different. Like we have the same
great.
idea.
That's really cool.
And I think because we're both good in front of people, you know, and we're both good with like interacting with people and like how people I've been bartending now for pretty much my entire life,
which is a long,
it's a long time,
long life. Don't let that gorgeous face deceive you. He's 87.
Right.
I'll take the name of your doctor when you have a moment.
My birthday is next Thursday.
Yeah.
Yay.
I'll be 47.
That's wild. Oh my God.
That's insane.
But
that's nuts.
Yeah. So I mean, no, we do. We have like our ideas are pretty much the same. Like we can just lay around and just like ideas pop in our head, we tell each other like, great idea.
Yeah.
So yeah, it works.
I just thought of this and just thinking about it. I think what also has probably helped is that since you two worked together, you know how the other person emotes under high stress. You know how they handle things, where their strengths are, weaknesses are.
You had the experience in a lower stakes environment.
Yeah,
versus
that's
now
probably
where
got
the
to
stakes
help
are
so much. Because I think a lot of couples, when they do get together, it's the first time that they're seeing them stressed out, or like there's a learning curve. Like if one of you wasn't a bartender,
right,
this is how you do this. You could be the most people person ever. Like I've thought about getting behind the bar, but never.
It would work.
there wouldn't be any alcohol left.
You would just talk the whole time.
I know.
You would never get a
one
thing
drink
done.
would get served.
So that's
ever.
Yeah.
So that was probably one of the biggest complaints about me when me bartending was like I talk too much.
Yeah.
You know, and I tell people, look, I'm the host.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of reasons. Like, there's a lot of people in here.
Yeah.
I know all of them.
Yeah.
So I'm the host, and like I make sure that everybody's having a good time, and you know, that's just great. So
Yeah. So when I was working in West Hartford Center, when I met Dan, it was 2013. I'll never forget the day.
Oh, boy.
Dan will never forget the day.
all night.
Oh boy.
I did a bunch of my friends and we decided we had this, it wasn't like a tradition, but it was a thing that we did where we would get really dressed up and go out to eat.
Okay.
And so we went to Fleming Steakhouse, and then we're like, we should go out to a bar. That's like something people do.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
Right.
And we weren't really into that. We're all kind of like
Right.
fresh out of college. We didn't really know what Connecticut had to offer in terms of like nightlife. So we're like wandering around the center, and we're like, this place, what is going on? So we wander into this place, and there's like DJ and music, and we're like, this is wild. But we're like, we should have like a story or something like that. Like we should have a reason that we're there. So my sister's boyfriend at the time, we decided to say that it was his like bachelor party. And so we told a couple people, and they're like, why are you here if this is a bachelor party? Like it's like a bar in West Hartford. And we're like, all right, bail on this plane. But then the nation was rocked. And we decided it was our job to put each other back together. That day, Paul Walker died.
Yes.
Oh,
And
I remember that day
Oh,
so well.
I remember where I was, West Hartford Center. And we said, now's the time for healing. Now's the time for family. And so we ordered every bottle of champagne that they had.
That's true.
And we started just screaming out like for Paul Walker, and we're like calling everybody over. We're pouring bottles and bottles and bottles for Paul Walker, and we're like all crying. We're like, "What's your favorite line of the Fast and Furious movies?" Like, and yeah, we're like, "Have you seen that movie where he's like a surfer with like Jessica Alba?"
Great movie.
Yeah, Blue Crush or whatever. But that was the night that Dan and I changed each other's lives.
That's right.
Yeah, it was pretty beautiful. But yeah, so I would go, when I was working in West Hartford Center, I would literally go, I don't know, 4 nights a week to Barcelona. And I would just hang out. And it started as nightlife. Then it started as dinner into nightlife. Then it just got out of control. But it was like Dan and Rebecca were always there, and they were taking care of me. And the listener may or may not know, I'm 4.5 years sober, and Dan and Rebecca saw me at...
I was going to say, you must have seen some shit.
Oh, God.
A little bit.
Yeah. There were some dark days.
He was infamous for just taking out his wallet and throwing it on the bar. He's like, take it all. Just take all my money.
Yeah.
Take my credit cards. Take all my cash. It's all yours.
Yeah.
Every time he came in, I'm like, man, I'm not taking any of this.
Yeah. There's nothing on these cards.
Yeah, literally. They are back.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah. No, Dan and Rebecca literally like were so... I think one of the reasons that I'm such a proponent is that I know that you're just such good people. Because any other bartender, with how I acted, I would be mortal enemies.
Right.
You know? But you guys were just so kind all the time. And no matter if I had like a really bad night, you would call me like the next day, like, hey man, like I have your wallet or something. Right. Or like, you know, like we let you, you know, we closed out your tab and like, you know, it's all good. The wallet's there or something. But like, it was very just nice. And there were other bars that I would go to that treated me like horribly, even though it didn't matter how much money I was like spending there or whatever. They were just like, and rightfully so. I was a menace back then. I don't agree so quickly, but but it was. And then
you were never a uncontrollable mess.
No,
you were always like the life of the party.
Yeah. And then I would sleep on the bar.
Right.
And then I would just you see those movies where it's like a podunk dive bar and there's that one old fisherman who's like asleep at the bar.
Yeah.
That was me, except I was 25 and it was a nightclub and I was in a suit.
Right.
But this is, I don't know if I've ever told you or Rebecca this, but in 2019, I probably hit one of my lowest points in life. And I went away for a little bit. I was MIA and didn't tell anybody. And when I started opening up my phone again and saw the notifications, the first notification was Rebecca checking in on me and just saying like, hey, haven't seen you around. And like, I will like never forget that.
Right.
And like, it really meant like so much because I was not always the most fun to be around. And like the fact that she was still just checking in. And what I've loved so much about our relationship is that you're a bartender and I was the customer. Like, it's so superficial, but we like worked like hard to like be real friends.
Right.
And like, I've loved every minute of my friendship with you, with my friendship with Rebecca. And like, I'm so thankful of just like my personal journey with you guys. And then just seeing you and your family grow has like, I truly like stop and think about it often. Like I'll look at you guys on Instagram and I'm just like, I'm like so happy to be on the same timeline as you guys.
Right.
Like it really does make me so happy. And like, I was very much looking forward to like getting you on here because I just was like another platform for me to be like, the world, here's the Liquorist.
There they are.
Here they are. Look at them. They're so amazing.
Right.
But I just like, you two are truly some of the people that I'm just like, I feel so fortunate to know in the way that if you have a good meal and you're like, I wish everybody could have this. That's how I feel about you guys. I'm just like, I wish more people could experience who you guys are. So I just wanted to say that.
Thank you. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you're one of the people that in my life, and I think a lot of people have these people in their lives where I don't need to see you every day. I don't need to talk to you every day. I can go months.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we've ever really gone like long periods of time without speaking.
Yeah.
But you have friends where you haven't talked to them for months and you go into that awkward conversation of like, so what have you been doing?
Yeah.
You know, like just to get through like that wall of like, what have you been doing?
Yeah.
We skip that immediately. I can go months without speaking to you. We go right into the exact conversations that we've always had.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. And it's like,
those relatitions are the best.
Yeah.
They
the
really
immediate like laughing.
Yeah.
You know, nonsense.
Laughing around this guy? Ridiculous.
We just get
Sounds
into
suspicious.
conversations that make no sense.
Right. But
this guy?
but the plot is moving forward.
Right.
Like, it is nonsense, but it is like there are accomplishments. Like, like yesterday is a perfect example. Like in order to tell you that I was moving, I did so in a story where the landlord was basically like Jigsaw riding on her tricycle, taking advantage of me. Like that was the story that we had set up. But at the end of it, you were like, cool, Matt's moving. Like, yeah, it's awesome.
Getting out of Norwich. Good for you.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
we're both survivors. I got out of Norwich.
Right.
You're getting out of Norwich.
Oh, yeah. Nonsense. I always wonder, like, during our conversations, who's listening, like, around us and just, like, what they must be feeling.
Right.
Uncomfortable is probably the feeling.
There you go.
Because every time it's like, it's just our our walls. There'd be a ton of people at the bar, Matt and I just talking, laughing.
Oh yeah.
That's all we're doing is just laughing. We're not really saying anything. It's like uncontrollable laughing. People are probably like, what?
Just not nonsense.
People want to be in on that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Those definitely, like, when I think back at, like, you know, the days I was drinking and ripping and running, there's so many of those times where, like, you and I were just like crushing it. And like the whole bar was just so
annoyed,
so without alcohol, like so barren to any type of service possible. And it was just like, whatever, man, they'll be fine.
In 1 second, just laughing.
Yeah, exactly. You just like slide a Bud Light toward them, it shatters. All they wanted was like some chicken pimientos.
Right.
You're like, here's a Bud Light. Just shattered.
Oh my God.
Yeah. What? So what?
Rein it in, man.
Yeah, exactly. Let's land the plane here. Right. So what's the future? Like, so you've got 4 ways to serve alcohol. I know that you've got bartender friends who come and help you out.
Yep.
Is the plan have employees, bring them on full time? Like, what's the future look like?
So we've talked about that. The future is hopefully to stay at the level that we're at right now. There's no guarantee. Trends, like a lot of the trends have switched over to like a lot of backyard and farm venues and not doing the traditional church weddings.
Yeah.
So hopefully the trend stays for a little while, you know, and knowing that weddings are pretty expensive and a lot of people now don't want to spend the $100,000 a wedding, you know, because like knowing like if you want to buy a house, the wedding is pretty hindering to that.
I think what's cool about what you and I do, and then Melissa with like the day of styling, is that we get the people who want more of the experience in their weddings. You know, I've got most of my clients spend more on the suit than they do on the dress because they're like, this is where I want to put my money. You know, and same thing with you. It's probably like they don't want to spend money on a cake that's $10,000. They want a bar that's going to be sick and people are going to talk about.
Helpful for everybody.
You know, I think that's cool to get that niche customer.
Right.
I just want to like repeat for the listener one more time what you said. You said you hope to stay at the level that you're at and maintain. And I think as business owners, because I have certainly been in these circles, it's that hustler mentality all the time of like, what's next? How do we grow? Got to keep pushing. Someone's going to catch me. What the fuck? Like, it's a constant, perpetual forward motion.
Yes.
And I think there's something really important to be said for like, we had a good year. Let's do that again.
Right.
Not constantly looking for the next thing to latch onto or the next way to drive yourself forward, but also make yourself nuts at the same time. Like, it's okay to just want the same or even less.
Right.
Like, that's okay.
Yeah. That's probably why I breezed over that, because I don't even understand those.
Oh, God, Matt.
I'm like, what more can I give? like, what?
You're literally a walking skeleton.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
I'm
all
just like,
the little memes
what
that I see.
else can I like lop off my body?
I did, but I'm still doing blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Like,
yep. That's true.
I'm glad I said that out loud again.
Yeah, because I literally didn't even... I was like, what do you mean maintain?
You're out of control.
I'm like, I want just all of me to be taken for this cause. But so you're the bartenders that you use, are they okay with that?
Yes, they are. Hopefully. I mean, they tell me they are.
If not,
they're great.
They're all done in this business.
Right. They're great.
Yeah.
Every single one of them.
Do you use the same roster?
Yeah. Yep. And which is nice because they enjoy doing it. They like coming back, and it's very rare that they'll tell me no when I ask them if they'll do a wedding with me. Yeah. You know, like I think a lot of it too is like they know they're gonna have fun. You know, it's like a different environment compared to like working in restaurants where it's very structured.
Yep.
We're not as structured. We're there to just have fun, you know, and just like, and it works, you know, like to have everybody be able to come. And there's been times where like we've been pressed, like we did 3 very large weddings and a smaller wedding in one day. And like, I needed 12 bartenders.
Jeez.
And
that's a lot.
And I was like pushing like all the people I know. I'm like, I don't have 12 people.
Yeah. Who are available on the same
Yeah.
time.
Like you're pulling
On a weekend too.
Yes.
That's like a tall order for a
Yes.
bartender.
And so we figured it out. You know, like the people that I work with, they pulled people that they know. And my thing too is it's not so much the bartending as it is the personality.
Always.
Personality is huge when it comes to dealing with people. Like you could be the greatest bartender, shitty personality. It doesn't work for me.
Right.
I don't care about your drinks.
Right.
I care about the people behind that are able to like come up and have a conversation with you and have fun with it, you know, and like that means a lot to me because that's how I am. I think the personality is there. The drinks will come at some point, you know, like that'll happen. But if you have a hard time with people, it just doesn't work for me.
It's nice that you take people. So obviously, you know, certain people directly, but then you're like, hey, who do you know? Who do you got?
Right.
Like, I will never forget. There was one of my first managers in my first like big girl job. And she was like, who do you know? And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, who do you know that might want a job that we could hire? And she said to me, I'm going to toot my own horn. She said, good people know good people.
Ooh.
Meaning like you tend to run in a crowd with people who have a similar work aesthetic. Or work ethic, I mean.
Yep.
I'm really nailing it on the language today.
You really are.
Some more coffee.
Yeah.
The same work ethic, the same values, the same thing. So if you know and respect somebody, you can ask them to access their allies and pull in quality people by the same standard.
Yeah. I do. That's how it was. Like I trust them all to know like who would they would recommend. So
and they're putting their neck out on the line for this other person too. So
and you know one interesting point about being so good with people is that it also gives you bandwidth to maybe make mistakes or grow a little. Like there were times. Like what we were saying when, you know, you and I are joking and the whole bar's not getting their drinks, but like they all still love you. So they don't mind waiting.
Right.
You know, that kind of a thing. And in a bar, at a wedding, a high stress environment, if you're able to make people feel comfortable, they'll be like, okay, you know, you don't have the drink I want. The drink I wanted is messed up. I had to wait 45 minutes for a drink or whatever. All right, whatever. As long as you're a good person.
Right.
So you get so much with that. And yeah, I don't need you to be wearing gloves and to be doing an eyedropper in my drink.
I'll do it.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I've seen it. And I'm like, I didn't even ask for anything. What are you pouring in there?
You know, my favorite line too are people like when I'm eye dropping things and they're like, what are you putting here? I'm like, you're going to sleep great tonight.
It's like to the bride. You're like, what? Dan, you met him.
Right.
Yeah. No, what's a story of you and the team crushing it?
Man, I feel like that's every weekend.
All right.
You know, like
let's take it down.
Okay. Get out of here.
I'm serious.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, be able to put everything together when it was one wedding a weekend or one a day.
Yeah.
I mean, that's easy.
Yeah.
You know, but when you're doing 3 or 4 a day, that's tough.
That's wild.
Just to get everybody on the same page.
Are you communicating during the day?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Even at weddings.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Are you
constantly texting people like, how's it going? Do you need anything?
Yep.
Usually the return response is, do you need anything?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Like,
that's good that you've got each other's backs.
Yeah.
It's nice that you get that reciprocated too.
Right. And it's nice because, you know, I was saying to Rebecca that sometimes I feel bad because all the communication I do with all the couples, I think that they believe that I will be at their wedding. And I'm not. You know, and like other people go who are great. They're all equally great. And so
stop being so awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
Hi, geez.
Yeah, just say something weird like once, just so they're like, I hope this guy doesn't show up. That's why this guy's behind the scenes.
Right?
You know, and I feel bad. Like that's like the guilt I have with not being at everybody's wedding. But I do know that their wedding will run smoothly.
Yeah.
You know, with the people that do go. So, and I do get that recognition on the return because I do get the email saying like, everything was awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
Bartenders are great. Like Alexis was great. Luke was great. Reuven was great. Rocco was great.
Yeah.
You know, and So yeah, it's a lot
good
of fun.
feeling.
Yeah.
It's a really good feeling. Those full circle, like, all right, we pulled it off and everyone was great. And I knew they would be, but like when you get it in writing, nailed it.
Yeah. So just leave the review.
Yeah, always.
Leave the
Please
review.
leave your vendors
exactly.
review.
I know.
I'm out loud.
It's amazing you can do 100 weddings a year and you get like 7 reviews.
Man, let me tell you, automate your email systems for that.
Yeah.
With a link right there. We did that this past year. It has changed the game.
I don't do anything like that.
Well, I'll talk to Rebecca.
All right, cool.
Yeah, not to you.
As I'm saying this, I'm like, you're the wrong guy. You're the wrong one to tell this. So I will talk to Rebecca.
I've gotten in the habit. I'll send a thank you card, a candle, and then I'll call them a couple weeks later.
Right.
And I'll be like, hey, and just so you know, like small businesses run on reviews. So if you could, and 9 out of 10 times they say yes. But yeah, that review is very important. What's something like word of advice for somebody who has pure passion, like you and Rebecca, just unadulterated, unbridled passion, but maybe doesn't have like the business savvy? Like, what do you say to those people who might want, like, I want to start it, but I don't have X, Y, and Z?
Right. Don't be afraid to accept the fact that you could fail. Like, just do it. You know, you get a lot of people that tell you, like, I want to do this, I want to do this. They have a time frame when they want to do it. I think I say this to Rebecca a lot. I'm like, a lot of people set goals for themselves way out in the future because they like the idea of the goal. They don't like the idea of actually getting to the
what
goal.
It takes to get there. Yep.
And I was like, if you just do it, accept the fact, like, there could be failure here, but you're doing it. And then you're going to start to figure it out. You know, don't be afraid to ask for help on things you don't know. You know, like we were all there. You know, you were there in the beginning, like feeling like this might not work. I'm going to fail. Everybody's going to look at me and say, like, what happened to your business? You're going to tell them it failed. And everybody's going to look at you different. Yeah. But I think a lot of people probably look at you differently and like, wow, he actually tried to do a business, you know, like I've had 3 businesses in my life. Yeah. They've all done very well, including this one.
Do you get people coming up and asking you questions about like how they can start, whether it's that specific business or just the broader?
Yes, every single wedding.
Amazing.
Specifically our business. Yeah. The thing is, I will help you out, but you have to realize that this business isn't what they think it is.
They think it's just fun.
Right. They think it's easy.
Slinging liquor. Yep.
Right. It's easy. You're only working 1 day a week. Yeah. And you're going to make a ton of money. Yeah. Like, if that's what you believe, then great.
Right. I got a bridge to sell you.
Yeah. That's not how it is. You know, like this is when you're in season, it's 7 days. Yeah. And it's probably 10 to 12 hours a day. Right. Like it doesn't stop. And, I also tell people, like, if you believe in the first year when you start this, you're going to make a lot of money. You're not. Yeah. You will not. Because if you want to get into weddings, you're 2 years behind. So everybody's booking now for 2 years ahead. So like, that's when you have to get into it. So like, it's hard when you're starting because you have nothing to back yourself behind. Yeah. Like you don't have reviews, you haven't done events, you don't have word of mouth, you have none of that. So it's tough. Like you got to start doing, like, you got to hustle. Like you got to do like the events where you
hustle.
Hey.
Yeah.
Where you're doing a lot of vending where you're not going to make a lot of money. Yeah. Yeah. You know, but it's more so like when we started, like we took every event that anybody would give us. We went with the idea of we could make money. It doesn't matter. Yeah. If we do make money, that's great. If we don't, that sucks. But there are going to be people there who can then recommend us. Yeah. And that's how I believe we built that way, you know, and also through word of mouth, like you had asked earlier, how do we do for like marketing and everything? I honestly don't know. I mean, it's a lot of Instagram, a lot of Google searching. Yeah. Our SEO is not the greatest. I don't understand all that. Yeah. You know, but I mean, we get constant inquiries. Yeah. You know, like 10, 12 a week. Yeah. You know, and
that's huge.
And if we're getting 30% of those, that's huge.
Right.
Yeah.
So
what's, shit, what was my question? Oh, what, like on the word of mouth and like making connections, like what has been kind of something that you've noticed with like the wedding industry? Like, do you get a lot of referrals from the wedding industry?
Oh, we do.
Yeah.
We're preferred vendors at a lot of different venues.
That's awesome.
that's great.
Especially with like a lot of different wedding coordinators as well.
Yeah.
So we're in with them. Which
Who's
is
your favorite?
I
List
was
them.
gonna say it.
Yeah.
Rank them.
I don't have to do any of that.
Throw down the gauntlet.
Yeah, exactly.
I can tell you like some of my favorite venues, man, like Smith Farm Gardens,
Oh, I love
Salem
them.
Herb Farm. Like these places are great, you know, like
Yeah.
Fleming Farm, like they're amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like, and it's not just the venue that's amazing, it's the people behind them that are amazing.
Yep.
You know, like I can go into Smith Farm Gardens and talk to them, and it's just like, this is great. Like, we're so happy you guys are here.
Yeah,
We love it
they're
when
like
you're here.
family.
They're
They don't
so
even know you.
silent.
Like,
Right.
oh my gosh, I've met them twice, and we don't really know each other like
Right.
that. But every time I'm like,
Right.
Yeah. They're
That's
so
so
psyched you're
good.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they have the same mentality as we do, you know, or that they're just happy you're here.
I was
We
gonna
know
say,
how to
we're just
treat
grateful,
people. Yeah,
right?
and it's great, you know, like them and Salem Herb Farm, Elizabeth over there. She's amazing. She is amazing. I don't know if you've ever been there. The venue is perfect. It is beautiful.
Yeah.
And she's great. The family's great. And it's just a lot of fun. Like, you know, when you get there, there's going to be no issues.
it's gonna be good. Yep.
Right. You don't have to worry about anything. You know exactly what you're doing, who you're dealing with,
Yep.
and it's great. You
Yeah.
know, and so she recommends us a lot. We're there a lot, and
Yeah.
just have a lot of fun with it.
That's
So-
awesome. Any last minute thoughts, questions? We've taken up way too
I
much
know.
of Dan's time. He needs to
Yeah.
get back to bed.
No, we get the extra hour.
I was gonna say, right? Yeah. Yep.
That doesn't matter in our house.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It just makes the
Same.
kids wake up earlier.
Kids, man.
Right.
It's all good.
I have on my fridge hanging a picture that Scarlett drew me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, still. She probably doesn't know who or what I am.
Oh, she knows you.
Yeah. Like, stay away from this guy.
Yeah. Warning,
Yeah.
stranger danger.
So, like, I remember I've been, before I was number one Liquorist fan, I was number one Dan and Rebecca fan. And like, hearing that they were having a kid, I was like, we're having a kid.
You haven't owned up to your responsibility.
Yeah, right.
I
Time to
did
pony up
something.
that child support,
Right.
I
Matt.
texted Rebecca this year on Scarlett's birthday.
You did.
It's in my phone.
Yeah.
And I was like, who the hell is Scarlett? And then I remembered. Yeah. But I was just like so excited. And like, yeah, I think it really is insane thinking about all that you guys have going on, and that your job is still so expansive also. Like it's not like you go to a desk and do a job. Like
Right.
your
Right.
job is all the things everywhere all at once. And and then you go home to like 3 kids and a dog.
Right.
And it's like
Yep.
kudos to you.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Constantly running the marathon.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
it's absolutely insane. So like I can't tell you how proud I am. Again, I'm going to try to do this without crying, but like literally I'm just like so happy that I am alive and great and get to see you and Rebecca do all that you do, because I just know that I know what I have felt from knowing you, and I'm so happy to see that other people
Right.
get to experience that. And
That
it
means a
ma-
lot.
Yeah.
You don't even know, like, because you are one of the most, like, Rebecca and I talk about how great you are as is. So, like, yeah, we
Thank
just love you.
Thank you,
Yeah,
man. I love you.
Love you, your family, everybody.
Yeah.
It's always been easy with you from like day one.
Yeah.
Like-
Literally. I mean, and I think that it really shows you like the bond that Paul Walker had.
Right.
And like how we all came together. And I think what we're doing is keeping that alive,
Right.
because family, you don't need friends when you have family.
Right. That's right.
And on that note, I'm going to see myself out now. Let you two bro down.
Flip the table
Yeah.
and get out of here. Dan from The Liquorist, where can people find you? All the socials, and we'll tag you also.
Cool. So look us up on the internet, liquoristmd.com. For Instagram, the Liquorist MD. I believe that's all we have.
perfect.
You know?
That's all you need.
Right.
That is all you need.
We thought about the TikTok thing. We're like, that's just a lot of work.
It's stupid.
It's just a lot of work.
We both tried.
You need to get yourself a Gen Zer to do it.
Right,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
right.
I told her I will call it the Ticks and Talks from now on, and on purpose.
Just give it to Ronan and be like,
Yes.
Yeah, just man this
Oh,
for
yeah.
me, will
You
you?
can only imagine what he would do.
yeah, it's just a loaded diaper. Here it is.
And in the loaded diaper.
yeah, exactly. Dan from the Liquorist, thank you so much.
It was so good to meet you.
Congratulations.
Thank
Great.
you.
This was great.
Thank you, listener, for tuning in to another episode of The Fabric of America.
Nice.